Hey everyone, so this is the next video in our series about microservices demo, and we are covering user service. So far we have one user service where we have covered the basic endpoint like user creation, user controller. As you can see, this is the working application as of now. If you come here, this is what it is storing in the MySQL database. We are on the same page for this one. But the main problem with this one is that the password, which is the very sensitive information, and we are storing it in the database as a clear text password. If anyone knows this one, they can come and take this one, get access to the account whatever user is supposed to do. So this is very bad practice, and we should not do this one. So this concept, how to secure the password, I have covered in very much length and breadth in this video. Password storage mechanism. I highly suggest you do watch this video before this implementation. So I have covered different mechanism there like encryption and hashing is the best way to go with when you are securing the password. So when we are securing the password, when we are hashing the password, we have different algorithms to hash that password. So as of now, there are many algorithms to hash the password. So you can see the big crypt is there, scrypt is there, pkdf2, others are also there. But as of now, most secure algorithm that is here is Argon2. This implementation is there. So I'm going to show you the custom implementation, that how manually we can do, how we can manually hash the password here if we want to do that. But there are different libraries that if you are in upcoming videos, I'm going to integrate the Spring security as well. So with that, this encoders, Argon2, bcrypt, scrypts comes very handy. All the codes is written there. We just have to use couple of methods there directly. So if you want to jump directly into that, you can jump to that video. But if you want to see how we can do the coding for this and manually create the instance of Argon2 and cover this one, so this is the good one. So I'll highly suggest you that you watch this video very carefully and see how am I going to cover this one. So how to add this Argon2? There is library that its implementation comes handy, so I'm going to add that in our project. So how to do that? Argon2 maven dependency. So if you do that, you will get this link here. So you go here and pick the latest version. Always pick the latest version. So 2.11 is the new version. So I'm going to click this one. And it is going to give me this one. So I'm going to copy it and put it in our project. So we have this user service and this is the build.gradle. So put it here. And refresh this one. So this way we will get the Argon2's library in our project, which we can use here. Coming to our structure here. So we have this here, set password. Before passing that into the database, we are going to secure that one, right? So as of now, I have left it as an empty. So let's secure this password in a different service, in a different one, so that responsibility is taken care by separately. So what I am going to do here. So let's add one dependency here, private final. I'm going to create one class altogether here, password service, and this password service I'm just going to create that. Yeah, do that. And the next thing that it needs, user service, and we have to include this in the constructor itself. Yeah, now it is added here. So password service, and this password service is going to do the job of securing this password. Okay, and this method I have to call here. So handy, just couple of line of code and it is going to do the job. So here just secured password, some valid name we are going to give it, and for now just return this one, secured password. Okay, which we are going to return here. So it is just returning this as it is. Okay, so user service job is finished here, right? So we have this set password here. It is going to secure that password and store in the database here, and this saved user, we are returning it as it is to the caller. This I do not want. So just finish this one, just set password and put it some string here, protected. Field. So I do not want to pass that hashed password to the client itself. I'll just inform that it has been stored into the system itself. Okay, or you can put it here, or you can put just this one. As you know, as long as you are not passing the secure password, it is fine. So we are good with this service here. When we start, now the thing is that we have to secure it only. So how we are gonna do it? So now here we need the Argon2 instance. So let's create that. So why it is not taking? So Argon2 get Argon instance. Maybe some problem with the ID, that is why it is taking some time to suggest me the changes, but it should do that quickly. So if I alt enter it, import class and get Argon2 instance. So I'm just leaving it for now, but going to complete this in a while. Argon2, and the main thing that I want is I want to hash a password, and while hashing the password, it is going to take couple of parameters. As you can see, it is taking iterations, memory, parallelism, and other things. So let's give it some value 2, and next thing, it needs memory. So give it some value here. 6, and next thing, it is going to take a parallelism, let's say 1 I am giving it, and the last thing, it is going to take the password, so that we have password dot to char array. This is what it is going to take. So when we have this instance, Argon2 hash, it is going to do that. So I can just return it directly. Do not need this line here and this as well. So this one liner call is going to give us this Argon2 hash. So now this is doing its job. Now we have to create its instance and this one. So Argon2 is going to take some user defined parameters to make this hashing mechanism more complex, so that it is very difficult for the hacker to get into the system. So it's always good to not hard code these things, configure these things, so that in future, without changing the code, we can do these changes in the application itself. So what are all those parameters? So first of all, if you see, when you are going to create the Argon2 instance, so Argon2 factory, if I show you that, dot create. So we have these couple of things. It has default length, default hash length, and Argon2 types. Type, it is going to take default salt length. If I show you this create method itself directly, so it has these by default things, but I do not want to go with the default things. I want to make it configurable as per our need, so that I have to pass those values, right? So how we can do that? So to make that configurable, we have to define those values in the application YAML or properties file, and then read that directly from there. How? So let's define those properties. How to name it? So password hashing algo, and first one is the Argon2. For Argon2, I am giving these parameters here. So first what is that? It is going to take a type. Which type? Argon2 has 3 flavors, so which one to use? So I'm going to define that here. 1, and then it has how many? It has short length. How much I want to give here? Then it has give some value. We will correct it in a while. So salt length, and then we have hash length, just give it 32, and then salt length we got hash length, and then we have iterations. How many iterations it should do? Let's say 4, and then how much memory it is going to take? So let's say 65586, it is taking this value here, and iteration memory, and then last thing it is going to take parallelism, that factor. Let's say it is taking 2. So these are the configured value that I have given here. So if you see here Argon2, so default hash length that it is taking 16, default salt length it is taking 1632. So if I want to make it same, I can do that, that's not an issue. But it now I have option in future, I can change this one. Okay, so I have done this one, and these types I have to define that. So I have given 1 2 3, and based on that I'm going to see that which one we want to use that. Okay, so we have this password service, and in the hash itself, if you come here and Argon2 hash, if you see this iterations, memory, parallelism, and password, this is what we have given there, right? So this is what is here. Now we have defined this in the application YAML. Now we have to read it in our system, right? How we can do that? So we have @ value annotation, and another more convenient way is to do it another config way. So this is also very nice thing that is provided by Spring Boot itself, that how to read the configuration from the system. It's a very handy one. Config.password hashing, password config, and this file I'm going to configure configuration, and then configuration properties, and in itself I'm going to give the prefix. What prefix it is going to take? We have password hashing algo Argon2, and inside Argon2 we have these parameters here. So prefix password dot hashing dot algo dot Argon2, password hashing algo Argon2. So these should, spelling and all those things must match here, otherwise it is not going to read from there. Okay, and now coming to properties here. So we have private int, so we have type here, so take type, and then we have string hash length, so make sure that spelling is same, the properties are same that you have given here, otherwise it is not going to read that out and it will create the confusion later on. Private iterations, private int, memory, it is going to be always int private, and then parallelism. So make sure it is matching with this that we have. So parallelism that we have, spelling is a bit complex, so let me copy paste it. Memory iteration, sort length, hash length, type 3, we have 6 properties here, right? Yeah, so do this one. Now fine, okay, just leave it. We have lombok there, so we can use getter and setter here, convenient one. So we have this now password config, and now when application is starting, all these application.yaml are going to be populated in this password config here. So if I want to read these properties, I can read that here from the password config itself. Okay, so just import it, okay, and create the constructor which is taking this one and make it final. Okay, so now we have got this password config, so it's going a bit more time and it is going to do the job. Iterations, password config dot get memory, and then we have type password parallelism, right? So it is going to take the parallelism and password hashing. So it has done the job. It's now the main thing is that creating the instance. So Argon2 type, I have to say now by default which type I want to take here. So one default mechanism I have to do dot types. Let's go with the hybrid. Let's go anyone we can choose, and based on the value it is going to change that one. So let's say I'm choosing this Argon2D. Okay, so by default it is going to take this type, and if password config dot get type is equal 1, it is going to change our type. So let's say it gives its I, else if pass to there are 3 variants of this one, so we are going with these 3 one. Okay, so type, it is going to change this one into last one is the 2id. Okay, so these based on these values, if we have value 1 or 2, it is going to change the type, otherwise it is going to go with the default one that we have type here. So now we have got the type here, and the next one is password config dot salt length, and then last parameter that we have password config dot get hash length, right? So if you go here, Argon2 types, default salt length we have, and then hash length. Okay, first is the salt length and hash length. Yeah, we are good with this one. So why it is not taking this one? So Argon2 types, I think it is creating a problem. Okay, so it is a string. Okay, let's just change it to int. All these are the int parameters, so now it should be good. Yeah, now it is good. So now we have all the pieces ready, right? So just let me walk you through here. So we have this register user, and the main target was to secure this password. So we have injected password service, and then we are calling the secure password of this method. And this method is getting the get Argon2 instance based on the configuration that we have passed here. Argon2 type config, and based on that it is going to take this one get salt length, hash length. It is going to take into consideration that if when we have got the instance, so we have one handy method, this Argon2.hash. It is going to take the iterations, memory, parallelism, and password that we passed here. It's going to take the char array of this one. So we have this handy method here, and it is going to give us the hashed string here, which we are going to store in the database itself. All right, so we are done here. Just this annotation that we have to do, because I need its instance, and this is the annotation that is going to do the job of this one, creating the instance of this, right? So I hope all the pieces are connected here now, and if I start the application, we should be ready to see the things working. Okay, so just let me check the values again. So application type 1, iterations 4, memory, parallelism, salt. Yeah, seems good to me. So let's start the application and see in action. So finger crossed. So because when you are going to demo and run the application, some unwanted errors come from some unwanted places. So let's see. So I'll need Postman also, which I haven't opened yet. Let me open that. So yeah, now this is the Postman. Let's see the application. So yeah, application started. It's running on port 8081 as configured previously. Okay, so if I go here now, and we have endpoint ready, so user service and all those user service is pointing to the host that we have the service running. So we have name, email, password. These are the mandatory field that we are giving here. So email, let me change this one. So give it here and send it, and let's see how it is behaving in that case. So sending the request, I got the internal server error. Let's see. So validation failed for class this during persist time for group default. Please enter valid password. So why did this error not come here? Because I have put the exception handler as well. Validation failed. Error while committing the transaction. It is creating the problem when persisting the data into the database, I think. So that is where the problem is. So okay, I think I got the problem here. So we have this user service and this user here, and we have specific pattern for the password, and this pattern is something which is supposed to be validating the password that client is entering. But as of now, what is happening, this password value we are changing it, right? When we are converting it into the secure password, we are changing that thing. So it is 100% possible that it is not as per this criteria what we have, like this 12 length and all those things. Okay, so how we can do this, like prevent the this kind of validation, like when we are storing that in the database, let it go as it is, and when we are taking the value from the client, let it go as per the validation that I have put here. So how we can prevent this one? So for this, there is one I have to disable this validation when persisting the data in the database. So how we can do that? So stop the application and do the changes. So you see Spring JPA Hibernate we have. So under that, under JPA itself, we have one property, JPA properties, and then we have Java X, and then we have persistence. I don't know why it is not suggesting me the further values, but it should do that. Maybe some problem with my IDE. Validation, there is validation mode that I have to disable. So give it none. Okay, so what I'm doing here, so Hibernate, when we have this data JPA library itself to persist the data in the MySQL, right? So as per this pattern and parameters that we have given here, these things, it is validating that also when storing that in the database. But I do not want to do that happen, right? So that is why I have to put this property here. So let's start the application, and now it should be good here. Okay, and also regarding the length of the password field, let's see user creation. So we had password as 100, so that should be fine. I think it should not go beyond that. Let's see. Okay, so application started. Yeah, again let's see what error this time it is giving us. Validation failed for classes, I think. Okay, what nested transaction commit exception with root cause constraint violation. Again it is giving me, I think it is not able to pick this property that I have given here. So let me double check this one. So we had Spring, we have JPA, under that Spring JPA, and it is going to take data source not this one. So I think I did the mistake here. So this property is under this JPA. So but now I have put it under data source. This is the incorrect one. So let me take from here and put it here. JPA property JavaX. Yeah. Now it is fine. Restart. So the configuration help us a lot, but a single bit we did incorrectly and it is going to fail drastically. Started application. Send this again. Yeah, now I am able to see this, right? So this password I got an expire date, it is giving me null. Now let me show you the database. Yes, now we got it, right? So you see we have this one, greenlearner@fas.com, and it has this hash password into the system. So even if I know this password, I cannot use it because the password validation is going to take the actual password. So when client has entered this information, so if only he or she knows that password and he is going to enter that, the validation is going to be internal. Even if I know this string, I cannot do anything with this one. Okay, so if I try to validate this one, if I try to enter this as a password and try to validate it, it is going to fail. So algorithm itself expects the same clear text, and it is going to validate that internally. So how validation happens, that in itself is a very easy process here. If I want to show that, so we have password service here. So we have securing password, right? So another method could be to validate that password. So user will enter some password, right? So user entered password, something like this, right? So it is going to return boolean. So by default, let's say by default it will return false, obviously. And how to validate that one? So the same instance that we have Argon2 here, it is going to do the job for us. So for now, so I need the global variable of this one. So do it here, and it's initialize it in the constructor itself when we have this one, right? So there are different ways to initialize this one. So here what I'm doing, I am doing while instance is being created, get the instance of this one. Okay, and Argon2 dot validate dot verify. So we have here. So here is the thing. So to validate this one, we need whatever we have in the database and whatever user is passing to us, right? So here so string, so hash. So I need both of these things, right? So hash is something which is stored in the database itself, and user entered password is something which is user is entering. So this verify method is going to give us that one. It is deprecated. Okay, so I think I know this problem. So it is going to char array, and it is, yeah. So that is string, it is not accepting. So to char array is the one. So that is not the deprecated one. So return this one. Boolean, not this one. So I can directly return this one. I do not need this line. So why give it another one? So we have this validate password, and when we have user controller, we can have another endpoint to log in or validate the user, where user is passing the clear text password. That is going to user service. User service is going to pick that user detail from the database itself and going to validate that password using this password service dot validate password. So this is how in the next phases we can do that. So the main idea behind this video was to how to securely store the password, securely has the password, and this is the one way that we can do that. So in the further video, the next immediate thing is that providing the user to facility to log in into the system to validate what credential they have given to us. So here Spring security integration comes into picture. So that important thing I'm going to cover in the next video. And this password service and password encoding mechanism that we have used here, it is going to also change. Spring security gives us a handy way to encode the password, which we can use directly and store the password and validate the things, so which I'm going to explain you in the next video. I hope you got some value, you have got understanding about this securing the password into the database. So at this point of time, if you have any confusion, any doubt, anything you want to ask, just put that in the comment section and let me know what you think about this video and how we can improve further regarding the quality, content, and anything, any feedback that you want to put. Please put that in the comment section. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.